Welcome to Radio OPAC. Radio OPAC is a division of Ohio Prison Arts Connection. OPAC connects people to the arts inside and outside of prison. My name is Catherine Roma, and I will be your host today. We welcome all of you, including our friends in correctional institutions in Ohio and other states, via DVDs of the shows. These shows are also archived on YouTube. Our guest today is Vicky Gaston, sister of Eddie Robertson, a very gifted musician, singer, and songwriter who is currently incarcerated in Chillicothe in Ohio. Please join me in welcoming Vicky to Radio OPAC. I first met Vicky at Warren Correctional soon after, I first met Eddie, I should say first, at Warren Correctional soon after I founded Umoja Men's Chorus in 1993. Back in the day, families were invited to the prison to hear concerts, and it was there I first met Ruby, Eddie's sister, then Vicky, and Vicky, I actually met your parents during the 90s as well there. So Vicky and I have known each other for quite a long time. Vicky, thank you for sharing your experiences with your older brother, Eddie. I know you are a part of a close-knit family of 10 children, and I know that your faith has helped to carry you through. Perhaps you would share what role music played for Eddie before he got into prison, and also later in Eddie's life as he has served prison time for over 3 decades.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate Radio OPAC having me on today to speak about my wonderful brother Eddie and his musical experiences throughout his life. Our family has been a musical family. My parents, whom you had the opportunity to meet, both sang. My father sang in gospel groups throughout his lifetime and male choruses, and my mother was actually a soloist in the church and sang quite a bit. So all of us pretty much grew up in church, and we sang in the choirs, we sang, you know, in school choirs. And Eddie just always had a musical sensibility about himself. From the time he was a kid, he was running around singing. Our older sisters, you know, brought records and music into the household. So Eddie just loved to sing, and he loved to perform. In his, you know, early years, our parents got Eddie an electric guitar. So he started, you know, developing some skills with instruments. And because they wanted us to all be a little musically inclined, they purchased a piano for our household. And Eddie decided that, you know, he was going to, you know, really take to the piano. At a later part, we all were given the opportunity for lessons, but as kids often do, we didn't practice like we should. So, but Eddie, you know, and the gifts that he's been blessed with, was able to actually pick up many of his musical skills in a self-taught manner. So he taught himself on the piano. He would gather us around the piano and have us sing background with him as he, you know, would play out songs. So that, you know, was kind of his early experience. And in the 30 years that he's been incarcerated, music has pretty much been a lifeline for Eddie. I think that early on in his time at Warren, once he became involved with music, that gave him purpose and more or less a reason for being, and an opportunity to use his gifts and really develop himself in a way to make his family proud, and to be a useful vessel there in the various institutions.
Wow. So do you want to comment a little bit about his compositional abilities? And I know for the listening audience, you should know that Eddie wrote many songs involved in the 4 CDs that have been put out of the prison choirs in Ohio since maybe 1995 or 6, I think the first one was. So Eddie played a crucial part in those. Do you want to speak a little bit about that?
Sure. I actually spoke to Eddie, and he reminded me of a number of things about his early time at Warren with the music program. In fact, as Eddie decided, to kind of use music as something to center him there during his incarceration, he and I think some others formed a music association. And Eddie served as the president of that music association for the first 10 years that it was in existence. And with individuals hearing him sing and perform, they suggested to Eddie that he join the choir that you had started there at Warren. And I think that was a point that really changed his life significantly. He's extremely proud of the fact that you all were able to do your first CD there at Warren. The title of that CD, Feel Like Going On, in which Eddie had one composition on that CD. So, he's immensely proud of the fact that things like that weren't being done in prisons, but you all were able to petition the institution and get permission to do that. And then a second CD was done, and Eddie was able to write 6 compositions for that CD. And then the third composition, and I'm sorry, the second composition was Do It for the Children.
Mm-hmm.
And all of his music tends to invoke, love, care,
Unity.
concern, community, and humanity. So that's extremely important to him. And then the third CD and fourth CD, both, he had another 6 compositions. Extend a Hand was the third CD, and Begin to Love, the fourth CD, in which Eddie actually wrote the title song for that particular project. He's just extremely gratified by the fact that these CDs and musical compositions that they have been able to create working with you in the prisons have been able to raise money for organizations and charities within Ohio, and able to just support families and other needs and causes.
And then, it was Eddie who I brought in some performers, Kim and Reggie Harris, and I think that was in '96. And so we opened for them. Our new choir, Umoja, opened for them. And so then Eddie gets the idea at that point, oh, well, I think we're ready to do a CD. And, we were like, not ready to do a CD, but, he had this, he totally was encouraging and had so much enthusiasm that we went ahead and we said, we're going to go full steam ahead and do this. And it was a miracle. It was the president of the college said, well, I have some discretionary funds that, I can loan you, you have to pay them back. And anyway, so that was the beginning where I said, okay, I guess maybe anything's possible. And so, yeah, Eddie's pieces also, I think it should be known, have been performed outside because I always got them transcribed so that they were actually piano vocal scores that, choral scores that people could use in their churches or in their community groups. And I know that some of those pieces have gotten out there and been performed. So that's really, it's wonderful. His music is, I would say it's has a lot to do with unity, and community and love and reaching out to bring everybody together. Very positive. So yeah, I feel very lucky to have worked with Eddie, and I am missing working with Eddie right now.
Yes, yes. His music has been, just transformational in his life. His early careers we talked about. He did a lot of gospel. He did a lot of, R&B, and knew a lot of artists and worked with artists out of Dayton, Ohio, which we had so many great performers and groups come out of Dayton. Eddie was able to work with a number of them. And just with his skills and his training, he was highly sought after at Warren to play a lot of the events and that the warden, Mr. Bragano, the warden at that time, had at the prison. So, Eddie just really was always happy to be of service and to share his gifts, and also, the gifts of his friends. Yes.
So I was wondering, I'd love to know what role the arts play for you and how music supports the journey that you're on. What is your personal experience of the arts?
Well, I love the arts. I love music. As I mentioned, we grew up in a musical household. I sang through high school, college, and music has just always been something that really just fuels my soul. When I'm down, there's always a song of some sort that I can play over and over again that will lift my spirits. And just having that be such a great impact for me, I know that the role that it can play for someone who is in a situation where they don't have many outlets. So I love the fact that there are so many organizations that actually go into prisons, and particularly in Ohio, because I have such a fondness there, go into the prisons and actually work with the men and women to have them participate in choirs, use their artistry and other art forms, really just as a way of 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 survival, of maintaining themselves, and having something that they can put their heart and soul into. So I've been able to meet a number of individuals in the Ohio system, and their artistry is what many say kept them sane, gave them great purpose for being, and just really allowed them, to thrive and sometimes flourish a bit within the carceral environment.
Yeah.
And as I have come to experience Radio OPAC, it's something that I genuinely love. So some days, some weeks, I don't get to tune in when it's actually being presented, but I have gone back and looked at the archives and many of the presentations, and just to see the work that organizations and individuals able to do their thing in the community, it's really just a wonderful thing. So
Yeah.
I enjoy it a lot.
I think that, the spiritual that comes to mind, there's a balm in Gilead that makes the wounded whole. I think that the participation, the ability to participate in all the aspects of the arts while people are incarcerated,
Hmm.
um, heals the sin sick soul. And it also just, it allows people to be more vulnerable. And that's not really a space that is occupied a lot in prison. It's a very hard place to be vulnerable, but I think the arts, participation in theater and choir and band and other kinds of things really promote a sense of not being not being where they are, and to lift themselves up out of that environment. So
Hmm.
I want to say that in case you are just joining us, we are Radio OPAC, and my guest today is Vicky Gaston, whose brother Eddie Robertson has been incarcerated for quite a long time, 30 or so years in Ohio prisons. And what stands out to you, Vicky, and what would you like to share as you have visited Eddie in 4 different prisons over 3+ decades?
Yeah, so one of the things that has just been an amazing opportunity for our family is to be able to actually come to the prisons on things like family days and experience the programs and performances for ourselves. So that has just been a highlight. I think we initially were able to do that at Warren, and just come in and be able to interact, with loved ones, with the families of other incarcerated persons, and just really have a warm experience to where we bring family and love and unity, right there inside of the walls with them. So that has just been awesome. And we make it to see Eddie as often as we can, or at least prior to COVID. So the last time we were able to visit was back in February.
Mhm.
So it's will soon be about a year since we've been able to physically visit him. So it's really tough, but having his music, and as you say, the spirituals and the gospels, the title of the one CD being "Feel Like Going On," that is a song that's near and dear to my heart, because it is one that encourages me, when I'm down, and I always know that by the grace of God, I can continue to make it. The Ubuntu choir, he said that one is really just special to him. He's, felt that way because that is, he said that, Vicky, that is who we were growing up. That was our family, Ubuntu. And, he's now been able to create that, with guys that he fellowships with there in the prison. And, he recognizes that, he is because of someone else, and that everything that we're able to do, it's because of, someone else and the unity that we have.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. That spiritual, I feel like, going on as trials mount on every hand. I feel like going
Going
on. Yeah,
on. Yes.
it's a lifesaver. um,
Mm-hmm.
so each week on Radio OPAC, we have a moment of reflection, because we know music and the arts and projects and performances capture transformative experiences that serve to lift our spirits and touch us in powerful ways. So, Vicky, please tell us what we're about to see here.
The next song that we're about to hear is a song entitled Let's Go Make History. And this was the particular composition that Eddie wrote for the 20th anniversary of the Ohio Justice and Policy Center, which is doing outstanding work for men and women throughout the Ohio prison system, and just ensuring that, you know, their rights, their liberties, and returning many to the community. It's exceptional. So Eddie wrote Let's Go Make History for that 20th anniversary celebration. And, you know, he's just proud to support the efforts of an organization that is doing so much for the men and women who are incarcerated.
With my heart, with my mind, with my voice, I have something to say. Let us reach for the stars now. For the stars now. When we try, we can't go all the way. There is a light in you. There is a light in you. That shine with the light in me. That shine with the light in me. Together we're burning bright. Together we're burning bright. Let's go make history. Let's go make history. United we can't go wrong. United we can't go wrong. Our strength is in unity. Our strength is in unity. Together we win the fight. Together we win the fight. Let's go make history. Let's go make history. Come on, yeah. I can feel, I can see, I can hear. You have something to say. Let us reach. Let us reach for the heavens. For the heavens. This is right. This is right. So let's go out the way. So let's go out the way. There is a light in you. There is a light in you. That shines with the light in me. That shines with the light in me. Together we're burning bright. Together we're burning bright. Let's go make history. Let's go make history. United we can't go wrong. United we can't go wrong. Our strength is in unity. Our strength is in unity. Together we'll win. Together we'll win the fight. Let's go make history. Let's go make history. Keep on striving.
Thank you so much for that and for being here today with Radio OPAC. It's been wonderful, Vicky. So thank you so very much.
It has been wonderful, and I really just thank you for having me and seeing that song and the video and the familiar faces and the light in those gentlemen as they were performing the piece. It lifts the heart, it lifts the spirit.
Yeah.
So, but before we close, I did just wanted to share a little something that was an excerpt from an interview that Eddie was fortunate enough to do with the Cincinnati magazine back in 2013. And I'd just like to share that because this encapsulates the purpose and the drive that's been somewhat behind what Eddie has been able to do during his incarceration in music. He was sitting in an office there at Madison. He was 55 years old at the time, and he put on his reading glasses and opened up a booklet for the Extend a Hand CD. The CD and other that he and other members of Emoja had recorded when they were at Warren. He turns to the 13th track, a song called Making Me Better. It's one of the 6 songs that he composed on that album, and he reads some lyrics that were a tribute to you, Dr. Catherine Roma, his musical partner for several decades. And he says, "There's a part of me that connects with you. I know it's making me better. Everyone can see that it's good for me. They know it's making me better." And he says, "I wanted to do an anthem for Dr. Roma because she's given so much." Eddie says, "You came into his life at a very critical time. He was deciding what type of man he wanted to be." He says he could either be what the courts had said he was, what the justice system painted him to be, or he could be the man his Heavenly Father created him to be, and the man that our parents had raised him to be. And he says there was a special lady right there for him, ready to embrace not only Eddie, but every man that wanted to do this. So, Dr. Roma, all I can say is the impact that you have had on men and women in the Ohio prison systems. And I am just so thankful that Eddie has been one of those individuals, because you have made him better by everything that you do. And
well, thank you so much. You know, Eddie, I can't tell you how incredible it was working on those pieces, and so many with Eddie. It was deeply rewarding for me. And so please send him my best. And again, thank you so much for sharing that and for sharing every bit of wonderfulness that you've contributed to this interview today. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you, and I appreciate Radio OPAC.
Regarding every stumbling block stuck in our way, we're gonna make it happen. Do it today.